So today I want to have a little car vlog, car talk. I want to talk about like fatigue and just being overworked and being overwhelmed. And I want to talk about how that has been affecting me as an entrepreneur. I feel like we need to talk about these things a little bit more and a little bit more often. And so that's what we're going to talk about. I quit my main job in June of last year, June of 2022. I did that with sort of a dream and an idea of wanting to run a business, but absolutely no plan, absolutely no, I hadn't had money saved up to do it. It was a decision I felt at the time that I had to make. I still stand by that decision, but it was definitely not the best way to do it. Because of that, in general, being an entrepreneur is a lot of work, and there's just so many things that you don't know, that you figure out, that pretty much in the beginning you don't have any help. It's just all on you, and you can burn out very easily. And so I want to talk about burnout, I want to talk about boundaries, and I want to talk about not letting your business sort of take over you as a person and sort of become more important than your personal, mental, and physical well-being. So let's talk about the boundaries thing first. I think from the beginning, especially when you start a new business, you do really feel like you should be doing work all the time. Like, it's all on you. You should be doing the work all the time. You can really suck you in, especially like if you start a business like I did with something that you love. Like, I love it. I'm passionate. I wanted to work all the time because I was so excited about it. And something to consider is the fact that like I do content creation as a main function of my business, although a main source of income for me isn't necessarily directly from the content creation. So there's a lot of time and energy I have spent in creating my channel, building my channel, creating my community. Those are things that are definitely necessary for my business overall, but it's not like I get a direct, I'm not saying I don't make any income, but it's a very, very, very small. It really is. But it's a necessary element to what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So there's some return on investments that are very clear cut, like, yes, if I purchase these wigs and I sell them for this amount, this is my profit. This is my, minus whatever expenses. But with like content creation and YouTube, it's not so easily and linear in terms of the correlation between your output and what you get back. Before, I used to work full time and I still uploaded 4 or 5 times a week on my channel all the time. I loved YouTube. I still do. I'm obsessed with YouTube. I love editing. I love the whole process. So to me, it wasn't a big deal. When it becomes like a situation where, okay, you need to do these things to support your business, though, there's that extra level of pressure. And I think like my thing was I didn't set up a lot of boundaries in the beginning. People know that I work all the time, know that I'm willing to work all the time. And so I really needed to start like being, for instance, like emails or responding to Messenger or things like that. I had to be okay. And I've only just recently, probably in the last month, really started putting boundaries around this type of stuff. I mean, people would call or text me at 10, 11 at night and I would answer them. And most often it was people who were in a different time zone, but it's like I never said like okay, or like this is okay for tomorrow, like I can get back to these people. I always felt like guilty, like, Tia, you should be working. You wanted to have your own business. I am a single mom. Yes, my son is 18, but he's still in high school. So I'm the sole provider for me and my son. And so what I have put in place the last couple weeks is I'm taking Sundays off now. I did not used to do that. Now, one Sunday I took off and I edited, but I love editing. So just to like sit there, I actually sat on the couch. My son was playing, I don't know, Call of Duty or something on our big TV, and I sat behind him while he played and I edited and we chatted. It was a great day. you know? And so I have been taking, you know, one day a week off, and it took a little while for me to mentally be like okay with doing that. Like I didn't feel guilty or whatever. I have noticed that it is like changing my energy a lot. The other thing is trying to create systems and put things in place to make things not as difficult. So I did hire an assistant. Love her. She's only part-time, and it has helped me mentally, not even just to have her as an assistant, but to have somebody to sort of talk to. Like, you can get really lonely as an entrepreneur, especially someone who works out of their home. And yes, like I interact with people in my lives and in my groups, but it's infrequent that I'm actually interacting with live people. That's why I go to the post office all the time to ship, partially to see people and to talk to people. And one of my good friends works at the post office, and I swear we became good friends just because I see her more regularly than I see anyone else in my life, anybody in my family outside of my son and my partner. My mom helps me with the live sales twice a month. If that wasn't the case, I don't even know when I would see my mom. You know, so it can be very isolating. It can be very lonely. I do live in an area of the country where it is sort of colder, and you know, there's a lot of seasonal depression here. I love where I live, but I just noticed, like right now it's April, it's sunny out. I am already seeing a shift. I was starting to get pretty short-tempered, angry sometimes. I was just starting to feel so overwhelmed. Any little problem was making me just crumble into tears. I was just, not only was I burnt out and overwhelmed and just scared. It's so scary. It's so scary to be an entrepreneur, especially in a scenario where you really have nothing else to fall back on. It's just so scary. And to be a mom and just all those things, it was getting to the point, and I think I was way more depressed than I thought. I have done videos on this before. I did a whole video on seasonal depression. I know that I have it. I definitely get it. It's just funny, like sometimes it's just months and months into it, and then I'm like, oh, seasonal depression. Sometimes it's not till it gets sunny again that I realize how much it was affecting me. I would like to be in the next year more intentional about sort of addressing that before it gets really bad. That's definitely something that happens to me and that I experience. I do feel like just reserving Sundays and being okay with not working on a Sunday, being okay with getting outside or making plans or whatever, has definitely started to help and shift my mental health a lot. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or not. Like, please check in with yourself. Like, burnout is real, overwhelm is real, depression is real. I have been struggling with depression since I was a teenager, and there are times when I really have a handle on it, and there's times that I don't, and it's okay. Like, that is just who I am. It's not gonna go away. Like I said, there are things I can do to lessen it. There's also things that I can do to make it worse. And I think it's just as important to understand what your triggers are, what contributes to your depression, or, whatever mental health struggle that you have. I think it's important to really drill down on that, because sometimes it's not even necessarily what you do, it's what you do not do that can contribute to that as well. I have a lot of videos on mental health issues. I can do more on that. I have no problem sharing my own. I have ADHD, and my ADHD does sometimes contribute to my depression. It causes a lot of anxiety. I sometimes have a hard time filtering certain things out. I can get myself overwhelmed in a tizzy very easily. In my business, I've had to really get systems in place, because and it's I explain this to my son like this. It's I know I have ADHD. I know it's gonna hit. I'm gonna have these ADHD moments where I'm like, ooh, squirrel, or ooh, let me do this. So I have to put systems in place to really not only keep myself on track, but to build a schedule and a way of doing work, and a way of doing my business, and a way of even my personal life that gives me the freedom to have ADHD moments, to swirl around, to go off on a tangent, to get into a project. I build my life. I'm still working on it, but I'm doing a pretty good job at setting things up so that I can be okay and be who I am. My ADHD gives me a lot in life. It gives me a lot of energy. I feel like it allows for me to be very productive, but it can also mean that I don't filter out, I don't set boundaries, I get drained, I get burnt out, I get into positions where I often feel used or unappreciated because my output is just a lot higher than other people. I just try to be very aware and cognizant. I'd say the thing that I want to try to do more of in 2023 is to continue to set the boundaries, continue to build systems so that, I have my business and it's wonderful and it's growing and it's all those things, but it's not going to suck the life out of me. It's not going to suck the fun and the enjoyment of doing some of the things I was doing, and also does not take me away from my daily life and my family and doing the things that I love, because it has done that. I'm okay with admitting that that's the case and that I need to address it and start to fix it. It will not get fixed overnight, and just to continue to plug away. So in 2023, I'm going to continue with some boundaries. I'm going to continue keeping Sundays as a non-work day, and I am going to start putting a little more health in the forefront. I'm 46. I'm struggling with, I'm overweight. I've gained a lot of weight over the last several years. I used to be in bodybuilding. I had lost 90 pounds and kept it off for 20 something years. My eating habits are very, they're not good. They're stress related. I'm an emotional and stress eater. When things are going very good for me, I can stay on a plan. I can stay on a very restrictive plan. Not that I needed to, but I'm just saying I could do those things. But when I'm just a little unbalanced emotionally or things in life, this is a very uncertain time in general. It was the pandemic. Then, like I said, I up and left my job, started a new business, some shift and changes in my relationship, my partner. So it's been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of change, a lot of hurdles, and I get down in the dumps. I do. I get down the dumps. I get tired. I do feel tired all the time. And I'm just saying, I'm aware of it, and I want to push through and make some changes. And I can't make all the changes, and they can't be all overnight, but I'm okay with doing some things. So just a little reminder. We can't always control everything that's on our plate, but we do need to make a little space for rejuvenation. It's just like when you're on an airplane, you always put your oxygen on first for a reason, because if you're on empty, the car's not going anywhere. And if you have a car full of people to take, it doesn't really matter if you don't have any gas. So just remember that, maybe you can't get a full reset, but you can at least be filling the tank a little bit, whether it's each day or each week or each month, whatever you can start with, and go from there. Because our personal well-being, our mental health, those are really serious things, and they can make hiccups in life so much harder, and they can make the wonderful things that happen to you just not feel as good if you're not in the right mental space. So that's what I have for you. If you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to add on this topic, I'd really love to have a conversation in the comments about it. If you would like me to talk more about anything to do with mental health issues or what have you, put that in the comments as well. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And if you have,